What do you do when the people who should lift you up in your darkest hour are the ones tearing you down? I asked myself that question every night for months, lying awake in a house that no longer felt like home. My name is Clara, and this is the story of how I turned grief into grit and betrayal into justice. 2 years ago, my world shattered. My husband, Ethan, was killed in a car accident. A reckless driver, a rainy night, and a moment that stole my future. At 32, I was a widow, grappling with a grief so heavy it felt like drowning. Ethan was my anchor, my partner in every sense, and without him, I was adrift. But the pain didn't end with his loss. It was only the beginning. Ethan's parents, Margaret and Richard, had never fully accepted me. To them, I was the small-town girl who trapped their golden boy. They tolerated me while Ethan was alive, but after his death, their civility vanished. They blamed me for not being in the car with him, as if my presence could have changed fate. They whispered I was useless, now a widow who couldn't even give them grandchildren. At family gatherings, their words cut deeper than knives. "What's the point of you now, Clara?" Margaret sneered once, her voice dripping with disdain. Richard just nodded, his silence louder than her venom. I tried to stay strong. I worked as a freelance graphic designer, pouring my heart into my art to keep Ethan's memory alive. But the bills piled up, and Ethan's estate, our shared dream of a future, was tangled in a trust controlled by his parents. They dangled it like a carrot, promising to help if I proved my worth. Their idea of worth? Signing over my rights to everything Ethan and I had built together. They wanted the house, the savings, even the small cabin we'd bought as our retreat. "You don't deserve it," Richard said coldly. "You're not really family." I was breaking. The grief was one thing, but their cruelty was another. I felt like a shadow of myself, shrinking under their judgment. Then came the letter, a formal demand from their lawyer, claiming I had no legal right to Ethan's assets. They were moving to take everything, painting me as an unfit steward of his legacy. That was the moment I stopped crying and started thinking. I found Sarah, a lawyer with a reputation for taking on tough cases. She was fierce, with a sharp mind and a heart that understood loss. When I told her my story, her eyes blazed. "They think they can bully you into submission," she said. "Let's show them who they're dealing with." Sarah dug into the trust documents, the will, and every legal detail Ethan and I had ever discussed. She found some Thinga clause Ethan had insisted on including, almost as if he'd foreseen this fight. It guaranteed me equal control over the trust, no matter what his parents claimed. Sarah didn't stop there. She uncovered emails between Margaret and Richard, plotting to pressure me into relinquishing my rights. They'd even falsified documents, suggesting I'd agreed to step aside. It was fraud, plain and simple. Sarah built a case so airtight it could have withstood a hurricane. "We're not just defending you," she told me. "We're going after them." The day of the hearing, I walked into the courtroom with my head high, though my heart pounded. Margaret and Richard sat across from me, their faces smug, certain they'd win. They didn't know Sarah had filed a counterclaim not just to secure my rights to Ethan's estate, but to sue them for emotional distress and fraud. The evidence was damning. Their emails, the forged documents, even testimony from Ethan's old friend who'd overheard their scheming. The judge's gavel fell like a thunderclap. The trust was mine, and they were ordered to pay damages, a sum that left their jaws on the floor. But this wasn't about money. It was about reclaiming my dignity, about honoring Ethan's love for me. I sold the cabin and donated the proceeds to a charity for grieving families, a cause Ethan would have championed. The house I kept. It's where I feel him still, in the creak of the floorboards, in the light through the windows we chose together. Margaret and Richard haven't spoken to me since. I don't need their approval anymore. I've learned that family isn't defined by blood or law, it's defined by love, by the people who stand by you when the world feels like it's crumbling. Sarah became more than my lawyer. She became my friend. And I became someone I never thought I could be, a woman who fought back, who turned pain into power. If you're reading this, maybe you're facing your own battle. Maybe someone's telling you you're not enough. Don't believe them. Find your Sarah, your strength, your clause in the contract. Fight for what's yours, not just the things, but the truth of who you are. I did, and I'm still standing.